Okay, go live. Hey guys, hey guys, I'm Phoenix here, and I know what I said. I said, oh, you know, earliest will be tomorrow, and then I got load of inspiration for not for building, for stuff to talk about. It's Satisfactory reason. There's three interesting debates currently going on the Steam forums, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put some thoughts into words, and yeah. So the first one is, you may start to see a bit of a theme here. I need to get some bolts. I'm starting to, I should know, just while I'm doing quite what I'm building at the time. I am finally sorting out my bloody bodge jobs that I've got all over the place. I need to sort out this power grid. That will be done at some point. That bit doesn't matter at the moment. I need to strip out the bolts one. Why is that? I didn't think I was behind that far on the save. Maybe I was. Maybe I was. Anyway, yeah, cause when I went to when I was doing some bits on this while I was waiting for my food to cook in the oven, and then exited the game without actually saving first, which was a bit dim. Also, I'm having some small power problems. The power grid keeps on. It's just at this point I don't know what's going on. I'm getting sort of little power fluctuations, which may be a result of some of my initial things, which I've later found out to be not exactly incorrect, but I need to retweak the power grid. But that's fine. I'm also going to save an awful lot of effort here. You see, I found a recipe that allows for casted screw, and if you don't know how good casted screw is, here's the deal. In order to make 4 screws with the default recipe, first you need to make iron rods. So you make iron rods, goes through a constructor, makes screws. 1 iron rod is equal to 1 bar. However, if you use casted screws, 5 iron ingots equals 20 screws, and you're not having to put it through the second constructor before that, which is better, I think. Yes, it's better. So why wouldn't you do that? So yeah, so I'm switching over to using casted screws because it is just better, and the rest of that stuff can just sit there. But I do need some screws, and I need you to go into there. Excellent. And then I can grab some screws from here, and then I can jump down here, just wire this crudely into the grid. Where's all my power poles got? There's one there. There we go. Right. Yes. So yeah, that was a thing that I did. I got that thing. It was really annoying actually, because sometimes when you get those hard drives, going way off topic now, sometimes when you get those hard drives, they're like, the stuff you can do with them is kind of meh, and it's just like, yeah, I'll choose that one, but I'm probably never going to use it. This was the first one I got where it was all 3. It was like, I want all 3 of these, because one was better modular frames recipe using steel and iron, I think it was. There was the better bolts recipe, and the bolted plate recipe as well, which is it's screws and iron plates to make 3 reinforced iron plates, which is really good. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't take all 3, so I was like, I need the bolts one. The bolts one is like really good, and then I'll hope I get some of the other ones later on. I'm sure I will. Anyway, so basically what I'm doing here is I'm just rigging up this new system. Whilst talking about some things that, so they've popped up on the Steam forums. And I think this is quite a lot of people that have come over from Factorio to Satisfactory, and the headspace hasn't quite become. And I know what you're going to say. Anybody who knows the ones that I'm talking about, it's things like, oh, wouldn't that be a good place for you to use that? Not really. So the first one is more action in the game. There's people who want more action in the game. I quite like the reasonably chill aspect of it. You know, it livens up when you're dealing with beasties, but for the most part, the beasties aren't really a problem. So I don't want this game to just become, factory clone number 18. It can be a very unique game of its own accord, if people let it be. There's, I think, in part because Factorio's come. What on earth have I done? I need to move this out a bit because, I think the problem is because it's basically just too close, and so it's fouling on because I can't quite get the belts completely aligned. The game just won't quite let me do that, so I'm gonna just overcook it a bit, so that I can then just drop my belts down, and then I don't have to worry too much about have I used a... Yeah, I've used a merger. That might be why some of the stuff wasn't working. Right, okay, hold on. I will try it out on the other side first. If I can squish it in, I certainly will. Oh yes, yeah, I will. Yeah, it might help if I use the right one. So assembler, and it needs to go in with its back end about there. That might be a little bit far forwards. No, I think that's good actually. No, that's good. Okay, let's get these in. So yeah, so an awful lot of the time when I'm, it's stuff like this. It's going to be easier for me to move them forwards. Let's just do that. Just move them forwards because I've got the space to do it. I can squish it in a bit on the other end. That's fine. So that goes there. Yeah, I've got plenty of space back here, so it's fine. So yeah, there was that one about sort of making it more like Factorio, and actually what I can do, because belts, I'm gonna put it to here, and then I'll guide the belt in from there, and that will be a lot better, I think. Boom. Okay, and I'll do the same on this side as well, just so that we're all. Can I say stop facing things the wrong way? There we go. Right. So the second one so I don't really think this game needs more action. I think it needs to just be its own game. without having to basically say why not make it more like Factorio, because Factorio is its own game as well, and I really don't think we just need it's some of this stuff is adding features for features' sake, and I certainly don't think that should happen. The game needs to feel like itself, not like the game that not like a game made by committee, which is always quite dangerous when you start dealing with games that are made by committee. Basically large groups of people who don't necessarily know what the game is, and so you just kind of get this this mess of features ultimately that, and it's not unique, it just feels like every other game out there. I can't remember what the Amazon game is, New World I think it is, and it's basically being criticised in the media at the moment for being, a case of, that's a game, well done, you have made a game, it's not special in any way, it's just using the best bits of games, it's not really taking any risks even, and that's the other thing as well. Games should feel free to take risks. If they're not taking risks, then they will just be your bog standard sort of Call of Duty games, I guess. Call of Duty games never really take any risks. They're good games, but they're not. You don't play them to feel. You play them for a big dumb storyline. There's nothing big or complicated there. It's not like Spec Ops: The Line, which is designed to emotionally torture the player. I can't even describe Spec Ops. It was certainly actually very badly marketed. It was kind of marketed as a Call of Duty game, and it feels like it right at the start. It feels like a Call of Duty game. That sort of style. But as you kind of get deeper into it, you realise that it's almost parodying the Call of Duty games by being, we're America, we can do anything. And then you get some rather nasty scenes involving white phosphorus, and it kind of goes into the sort of horrors of war stuff, and then it kind of gets a little bit more warped, as it's like, in a weird way, it's like playing Subliminal, because it sets up a whole series of basic things that you understand, and then it starts warping those rules. Just as you've learnt the rules, it starts warping them and changing them, and it's like you stop being completely sure about what you've seen. It's weird. Excellent game. I could not play it a second time. It's not one of those games you play a second time, I don't think. You have to be a certain type of person to want to play that a second time. Not because it's a bad game, if anything, no, it's actually a very good one. But once is enough. A game like that, once is enough. God, how on earth did I get over to Spec Ops? Games having a sense of identity. That was it. Weirdly. And Spec Ops definitely has an identity. Good lord, yes it does. But Call of Duty doesn't, it's just sort of a good big dumb game, and if you play Call of Duty Modern Warfare and I don't know the latest one, whatever it is, that is literally how forgettable the games are at this point. Modern Warfare was an excellent title, but all the other ones were just running off the back of Modern Warfare, and there were a few good ones and and a few bad ones. Ghost springs to mind as bad ones. It was pretty resoundingly pummeled by everyone. But yeah. So, but yes, you know, it's a game ultimately. But yeah, that's kind of what I fear Satisfactory could end up becoming if we kind of let in the idea of it needs more action, it needs tower defense, it needs beasties that attack you based on how polluted the area is, it needs all this stuff, and you're looking at it and you're thinking as these things get added, it loses its identity. It becomes a Factorio clone, but it's not a Factorio clone. I mean, does Factorio have things that look like that? Sorry, that? It's big, it's crazy, and when you build one, you get a whole animation with the thing that comes down and it like scrapes up, and it's big and it's complicated and it's messy and it's satisfactory. And that's what Satisfactory is. It's big, it's crazy. You can climb up buildings and jump off them, and you can do little things left to right, and I really should get that unlocked, because every time I do this I think, I need my Blade Runners. I can't remember what they're under. Caterium, I think. I can do that. 5 minutes. Excellent. Actually, I'll be able to do a few of these, which will be very good. I need that one. As well, but yeah, 5 minutes, we'll be back. But yeah, anyway, so that there's that one. Anyway, that's my issue with having sort of more action in the game. It doesn't need it. It's got little short bursts of action, of you trying to shoot a thing, and then when you build on its territory, it doesn't respawn anymore. Now that's about all you really need for it, I think. Otherwise it does start to lose itself, and I don't think we want that. This shouldn't be a 3D Factorio, it should be Satisfactory. Anyway, so there's that one. Second one was, do drones next. Drones is quite a good one to do, because with all the little niggly bits that I've been dealing with just now, drones I think is a very good topic to move on to. So the idea behind drones was, if anybody's played Empyrean, in Empyrean you have this little construction robot which you press F5 and it hovers up, and you can get it to do various things depending on what tools you've got on your hotbar, including shoot. But the idea behind the Satisfactory drone, something you unlock, and then it basically works in the same way. It's got limited radius to use, and then you can use that to plop down buildings. And it's one of those things that it sounds like a good idea until you start boiling it down. Every feature that you add to a game, you need to consider what it brings to the game. What does it bring that is different from other features? Otherwise you have developer time, code time, art time spent on developing a feature that isn't used. And if you have that feature, it means that something else has gone fundamentally wrong with how you are interacting with the world. Empyrean gets away with it because Empyrean is actually quite a restricted game in how you build. It's not quite as refined, I don't think. You can't really do stuff like that, where you sort of jump off something and then you can kind of do little corrections to how you move. This will become much more evident when I do finally get Blade Runners and I'm able to run an awful lot faster and jump a lot further. But you will notice that every so often I'll climb up a building, I'll jump off it, I'll skate along a belt, whatever. The movement is in the game is an awful lot more orchestrated towards being able to climb up something and then just being able to parkour around your area. Like so. As a result, you not being able to get up to up top, and my power's just shut down again. I need to work out what's going on here. It's like it catches me at a dip. I'm gonna just check the water supply. Well, we'll do a bit of parkour around here, or get stuck on belts, but that, you know, one or the other. So yeah, so you got an awful lot more freedom of movement, I would say, in Satisfactory over Empyrean. Power shut. Power has indeed shut off again. Why on earth is it doing this? Am I going to need to stick? Actually, yeah, that's the thing I can do. I can stick a slug in the coal thing that I did this morning. If it's continuing to be a problem, which I think it is, right. What is wrong here, and can I fix it easily enough? Right. Really? Where's the coal? I expected that to be a water problem, but no, it's a coal problem. I did splice the line, but even so, I should be getting more coal through than that. Okay, so this isn't the problem that I thought it would be. This is a fuel problem. Water's fine. So evidently I'm not getting the... I need faster belts. I bet it's that because I've spliced the line in two because I'm doing some steel production. I bet not enough coal is being fed to all 5 power plants. I'm not really sure how to fix that. I could supercharge the vein. But that's only gonna... not completely certain how I'm gonna fix that one. Well, if it becomes a problem, it will become a problem, and I'll fix that off camera. I know how I need to fix it. It's just a case of getting in gear and moving over to the new area, setting it up properly so that I've got like 2 water pumps for every 3, 8, 5. I can't remember. Oh, power's shut down again. Right. Okay, I'm going for a short drive. It looks like... Actually, can I... In theory. If I've got the plates, then yeah, I could do that. Right. We're going for a short drive. We're not doing the other one. I've got to get this power sorted out, otherwise my factory won't run, obviously, if I don't have the power. And it keeps cutting out, I think, because there's a coal shortage. Again, you know, this is one of those issues that wouldn't be solved by some of these suggestions that are being put in. But yeah, so ultimately I do not find building particularly difficult. I build all my stuff on grid anyway. Being able to see things isn't necessarily a problem, because I sort of build it together on grid. Foundation wise, I'll line up the foundations to roughly to sort of key features, I guess, of the map, and then build factories around the foundations, keeping everything on grid, and then using walls to angle conveyors around. You've seen me do all of this. How I'll put up walls and put up right-angled walls and then feed a conveyor belt around. I don't rely on conveyor poles, because I think that they can look quite messy. All of this stuff you have seen me do, and you know, we're going to be going down to it as long as I can actually remember to make a stop off first at the reinforced iron plate area, so that I can pick up some reinforced iron plates. God. There's no point in me trying to restart the grid again and again, because it's just not. It's not liking something I've done, and I think I've starved it of coal. Because it was fine. Thing was, it was fine. don't know. I don't know anymore. I'll just quickly run over and grab some plates, and then go and build some coal generators. So yeah, so that was that, and then the last one, so that was drones, and then the last one was logic gates. So, guy wants logic gates. Okay, why do you want logic gates? We get an awful lot of just sort of because Factorio has it type of thing. Okay, right, so let's break this down. Why is it that logic gates are needed in Satisfactory? So that I can put a biomass generator on the water pump, so that if the coal power runs out, the water pumps will keep running. Right. How often is it that your power cuts out at your base that would require that to need to be a thing? I would wager not enough for you to actually require having developer and art time put into a feature that ultimately will be used for a handful of people, if that, and for some very, very basic things which you can already do in Satisfactory using other systems. What we have here is an example of the problem, the power problem. What happens if your power grid isn't strong enough and it's suffering from fluctuations in the power supply, which is causing the power supply to keep being knocked out? Well, the problem isn't that you don't have logic gates. The problem that I have isn't that there's not enough water supply, it's that I don't have enough coal running to the system, I think. I'll have to gather what's going on at the at my mini coal plant, which is about to become the main coal plant, because I need to get that sorted out. But what I would wager is that the problem, and I've overshot my turning, the problem, if you are having problems with your power supply, I would wager that the problem is with your power supply, not with the lack of logic gates. I do certainly advocate for backup power supplies, a secondary grid hooked up, so that you can very, very quickly and easily disconnect the water pumps from the main supply and then plug them into the backup supply if you need to do that. However, having biomass and logic gates hooked to biomass, which is then hooked up to your water pumps in case your power goes out. Okay, what happens then? Your power goes out, your biomass supplies are still hooked up to the main grid. They're not going to be generating any power. Now you could, in theory, have backup water supply for every for the main system. So you would basically just duplicate your water pumps and then hook one in using a junction. It would be messy, but what does that solve? Not a huge amount, because what happens if the biofuel generator doesn't have any biofuel in it? Because the logic system is such that, because you've been relying on a logic system to keep your power running rather than fixing your power grid, it's run out of fuel. You're still going to need to go down there anyway. You're still going to need to work out why things aren't working correctly. In this situation, I can reprime the system for long enough, I think. Except that water pump isn't. There we go. Right. So I should also make sure. So these are stuff with coal. It's water. Right, I am suffering from water problems, but the water problems are here, not up at the other one. This is one of those situations. My power is kind of fine if both power systems were linked to one another, but they're not. So up there, I've got a coal shortage problem, because when I went to them, plenty of water, but there's no coal in them. Come down here, I've got a water supply problem, because part of the way that all of this is set up is the water may not be getting to here. I'm going to need to rework this part. I have a plan. Iron plates, right? Excuse me for one moment. I need to find iron. Oh god. I know there's some iron around here somewhere. And not that far away either. I think it's up here when I did the last scan. Ah, it's there. Right, yeah, that's fine. I got plenty of foundations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these, these foundations. I will need to start sending in a moment, but there is a reason why I'm not doing that just yet. Mainly because it doesn't look very good. And I want to make this one look a little bit better than I normally do. I'm still going to experiment a little. I think maybe one more. Okay, so that goes up there like that. Then just need to work out. I think that should do. Excellent. Yeah. And we just need to clear a bit of a path. And it should just be up here somewhere. Oh god, bad. Right, so it's over here somewhere. There we go. There's my iron vein. Excellent. Oh, this is a pure vein. Oh, okay. This is actually very good. Let me just beat this thing to death. Right, yeah, this is a pure iron vein. And what's that? That looks like a normal copper vein. Interesting. Right, okay. Well, we can have a small outpost up here. Unfortunately, I don't have much of what I need to actually... Right, well, now I've built this platform, I can go and get my tractor. The tractor's got a workbench in it, so I can make some of the bits that I actually need. I will also... No, we'll sort of do this. Just make it a little bit wider. Because certainly when we get what's it called, the truck built, one wide, that's quite nice. That's come out quite well, I think. It might be nicer when I get some windows in, and I might be able to do something a little bit more interesting on the sides there. Yeah, where were we? Yeah, it's logic gates, yeah. Anyway, I don't see a huge amount of point in having logic gates, because it's not going to fix the problems that people are finding. To need to Second problem, I can't get around because I might be able to. Hold on. Right. So my plan was, so instead of having it here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift it up to here, and then that might be a little happier. I need to move a few things just sort of generally out of the way. Right, might be able to now get underneath that. It's like it's so typical of my bases. Be a bit of a squeeze, but no, that's not gonna do it. How do I get under that? Well, the only other option I've got is to just remove it for the minute. Power is being really spotty as it is, so I'm not hugely worried about losing a little bit of that, and then I can just stick it back in. And then when I get round to it, I can make sure I've got a roadway through here. Possibly even build it off this platform. We'll see. We will see. Alright, so these two veins. I need to trash. Oh no, wait a minute. What am I saying? I don't need to trash anything. Okay, right. So let me just make these. I'm gonna have to manually make all this stuff. It's fine. I need to put together a workbench. So. Sorry, an equipment workshop is what I need. So I can knock together a miner. Put one of them on. I can quickly knock together a second one. I'm going to need it for something else. Well, I'm going to need it for the copper vein next to it. Need this. I'll get smelter up. You know, all the mod cons basically for this vein. Not completely certain exactly what I'll do with it yet, but we'll work that one out in a moment. Right. So yeah, like that. What? Oh yeah, yes. Getting a bit confused. It's like, that's my excuse and I'm sticking with it. Right. We should be able to now pick that up. Then I need a smelter. All very, very bodged in. But so yeah, I guess where I sort of come out of this, talking about suggestions. Suggestions are always very useful for games developers to say that, because people can think of things that developers may not have thought of. That's fine. What I would say is, though, when you're dealing with suggestions, try to be as clear about your suggestion as possible, and also think about it very critically. How does this suggestion improve the game? What does this suggestion do uniquely that no other system in the game currently does? Even if it's just an addition to an existing system, something like drones. You know, why do I need a little construction drone? What kind of failures has come about in the game to mean that a construction drone is necessary? Is it just actually that we don't need a construction drone, and in fact what we do need is a better building system, like for example the ability to build walls onto walls, or next to walls, or underneath walls. These are things that Satisfactory already has. You don't need to put a wall on top of the wall. You can very easily extend your walls upwards while standing on the ground. You don't need a drone for that, so a drone probably isn't really needed. Right. But yeah, so that's just sort of my thoughts on the subject. I thought it was sort of an interesting talking point. While I don't actually do what I was originally planning on doing, but needs must. I probably won't be going on for very much longer, don't worry. I'll probably be off soon. So, yeah, so if you have a wall, right? So obviously if you want to build above the wall, you put it up in the top half. If you want to build underneath the wall, you put it on the bottom half. Side, other side. You can also flip the wall using mouse button. This is why I love using foundations so much, because you can very, very quickly, if you've got the resource to do it, you can very, very quickly put together something that does make sense. So I don't know quite where I would go from here, to be honest. It's as in setting this up properly, partly because the power grid keeps shutting off, because I get these power dips and I really need to fix that. But I don't know. Well, it's the water issue. Got plenty of coal coming in. I think I just need to build a little bit more intelligently, to be honest. Yeah, that's something that I can work out. I think what I would do, currently this coal plant is a little bit on the edge. Move it inland a bit, where I've got a bit more space. Cut down all this. so that it's more sort of in the middle here. Build all this up and then have this running off with the factories, and then pipe the water in. It's a bit dubious, but I think that will work. But I think I'm going to end this video now. I think I've said what I felt that I needed to say, and I've obviously got an awful lot of bits and pieces to sort of be getting on with now that are causing me problems. So with that, I will say thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time, if I can find my